Good morning, gardening friends. Thank you for being in the garden with me again today. This is Elaine, your RN in the garden, and today is going to be all about overwintering these geraniums. I do not have tags for these geraniums, however, I have seen a couple videos on overwintering them. They do smell nice, so they're fragrant and I would love to have them back for next year. So I am going to try to overwinter these and I'll just take you along with me. I have a pink and two reds. There's nothing on it more than they said that they were not edible. So I don't know what cultivar these geraniums are or what their names are. To get started, we're gonna remove the geraniums from their pots. I have let them dry out a bit, so they're quite dry. I did not water these because in the process we'll have to get rid of the soil. Also, we need to take anything that's dead, broken, rotted, anything like that. So we got to take these dried leaves off, the yellow ones, take off all the blooms. I could not have brought myself to do it earlier because they're so beautiful. Like it is almost done. It's blooming cycle, but just look at these beautiful blooms. It's getting a little cold, so I don't want to lose these. I'm going to go ahead and prepare them today. I am going to be removing all the dead leaves, branches, stems, and the blooms, the current blooms. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. You see how long it's taken me to clip those, right? And I'll just put the soil in the compost pile. I have another bucket here that I'm putting the soil in. So that's why I was bending all the way down there. I'm not going to wash the roots because you want this to be dry when you put them up. So I'm getting out as much of the soil as possible. Shake them off a bit. Sadly, but we'll have to clip the blooms. Beautiful blooms. I think I'll want to stick these in a tiny little vase when I get in. The leaves will get dried up over the process, but you still have to strip them. So far it looks good. I don't see any dead leaves or any dead branches, and this is what it looks like. Try to get as much of that soil off the root. And you have to place them in a paper bag. And they'll go upside down. Some people say they don't want all the energy going back to the root. That's why they do this. However, some other person says the way they do this is because it's easier to check the roots, and if they're too dry, they'll give it a little spritz over the winter just to keep it going. So I'll put mine in a brown baggie and continue on to the next plant. This one was on the porch, and I've really let it dry out a good bit. And they smell real nice. That's why I would love to have these again next year if I don't have to buy them. And also, if these come out where I can replant them and they come back real good, then that might encourage me to buy some and continue to overwinter. I have 3, hopefully all 3. It's a learning process too. Hopefully all 3 will come back. And I'm removing all the dead leaves, any dead stems, anything you don't want to encourage, any pest or anything, fungus, anything in that environment when you put it to sleep. So anything, those yellow ones, they've got to come off. Any little dried up area, stalks, let's get them off. And they come off fairly easy. Even that one. I use the scissors instead of the pruners because I'll get a more precise chop when I use that. Some people will chop it all the way back, but I'm gonna leave my leaves on. It's a nice aromatic smell coming from it too. Now I'll go ahead and take the soil. This one is really dry. It was on the porch and I made sure I did not water this one. We're just getting that soil off again. And I'm in the backyard at the shed. This is close to the arborvitae edge. And I'll give you a little teaser of my little projects I have coming up. That's gonna be fun. I was out here last night until maybe about 8 o'clock, just puttering, watering, puttering, moving things around. This garden is in a state of continuous evolution. It just keeps evolving. And sometimes too, you stay at one end of the garden and look at something, and you go to another end and you just start judging things around. Okay, so I've removed as much soil as I can from this. These are new little shoots coming up. I'll leave those, but I'll get the soil out. So if you have a geranium that you love, you can possibly try and see if you can get it back next year. Just getting all the dried bits off. I think these leaves look okay. One has a little yellowing to it. And this I'll place upside down in that paper bag as well. It's a large paper bag, so I can put 2 in there. And who knows, I might try to put 3 in there. Aren't they pretty? Let's enjoy them for a little bit longer. And this one was the hanging basket. Kept this mostly on the patio. And I've let this one dry out a bit too. Very fragrant. So off with the blooms. Let's get the leaves that don't look too good. And as you can see, this one don't have much of any foliage. A lot of the foliages are turning color. And I'll take all those off. I love the color on this one. I do love that pink color. A lot of geraniums, I know they're mostly red. See? Beautiful. I'll pop them in a tiny little vase I have just to... I couldn't bring myself to chop them off once they were really blooming. I'm a little frugal with my plant. I have to get the last life out of them. Okay, I think this looks good. Now let's get it out. The way it looks, it seems as if there's like 3 plants in here. have been letting this one dry out a bit and still feel moist in the bottom. Maybe it's the type of potting soil. It does have a bit of perlite in there, and that helps to keep the moisture in. I don't want to just whack it. I want to see if it's actually 3 plants in there. I hope you're seeing everything that I'm doing. Let me take a look. Sure. Okay, great. I want to say this might be 3 plants here. Just tapping it to get the soil out. I think that's one. Yeah, I think this is 3 plants. All the better. It's got great root system too. I'm just going to put all 3 of these in a bag by themselves, because these are the pinks. Just doing a final check, make sure I get all the dead areas off. And upside down into my brown paper bag. So that was a lovely surprise, getting 3 plants out of this pot. And it would be awesome if all of these come back, and I'm really gonna be checking on them periodically. If they're drying out, I'll give them a spritz of water and be sure to check on these, because I would really love these to come back. Trying to get as much of this potting soil out of the fibers on the root. That was some good potting soil too, because this has been out since last week, I think, with no water. I did not water this, and it still felt a little moist on the roots. So I'll add this to my bag. On to the third. Talking about playing in the dirt. This is it. Try not to damage the roots. Just trying to get as much of the soil out. Okay. Not much leaves on this one. It is naked. Okay. It has great root system too. Okay. And what I'll do is close the bags. I'll use my stapler and just close them. These will go in my basement. I have a box and I'll label the box. I'll label these bags as just as to the color. I know the one with 3 is the pinks and then the other 2 is the red. And I'm gonna just staple these, put them in my basement, and periodically throughout the winter check on them and see if the roots are drying out. If they are, just have a little spritzer and spritz a little water on it just to keep them moist, not wet. And keep checking them over the winter. And then you plant them out about, say, 6 weeks. You start potting them up about 6 weeks, trying to wake them up before the first frost of next spring. And we'll take you along, so you will see exactly what's happening with the geraniums. They're not going to look their best. Remember, the leaves are going to die back. They're going to look like they're dead, but we're just going to follow through and see what they do next year. This is the winter for preparing these geraniums for overwintering. I'll give you a little teaser of my other projects, and of course, hydrate. Try to get your fluids in. And let me take you to a couple of my little projects that I'm going to tease you with. Okay. This is my new seating area. I have a fire pit, but I have been piddling with this tree stump. It died, and I light it. The girls will roast their marshmallows around it. This is the site for a new seating area. I've marked out a couple little things, but I'm still preparing the soil around it, getting it a little flat. That's a bench that Hobbs made. This is my next project, my workout bench. Sometimes I'm working out, and if it's soggy and wet, everything starts getting muddy. So I'm making a little area that I can work out. It's going to be more practical, and I won't be getting all muddy. Then this is my current compost area. And this has been here since literally last year. There's clippings, there's all kind of little things, scraps from the kitchen. But what I'm going to do is to use this trash can. I have put a couple holes in it. There was a fellow YouTuber that used the trash can method, and I like it. It keeps things a little bit more tidy. So this is my area that I'm going to do my compost, my new compost. I want to be able to use that fertilized, matter around the garden. This is the back garden. Everything is going to sleep. And I will rake up some of these leaves and add to my compost pile as well. Just want to show you this last set of bloom on this rose. And this is where I'll leave you today. Have a wonderful day. I hope I've inspired you to do something nice in your garden, or inspire you to do a garden, or even to just have a flower pot. Thank you so much. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Add your comments down below the video. I would love to hear what you're thinking, and if you have a suggestion for my garden, do put it in. I do look out for your comments. Thank you so much for being with me today in the garden. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.